What's up, y'all? Brandon with BC Talks here. 2025 was a great year for movies. I feel like there were more top tier movies last year than there have been the past couple of years, or at least as long as I've been doing this anyway. Now, I personally saw well over 50 movies this past year, many of them more than once, as well as several different movies on the various streaming services. And I am going to rank my top 10 movies that I saw last year. And we're going to start off with honorable mentions. Now, it might surprise y'all as the comic book guy to know that I did not have any comic book movies in my top 10 this year. So our honorable mentions are going to be Thunderbolts, or the New Avengers as it was called post release of the movie, Superman, Fantastic Four First Steps, as well as Final Destination Bloodlines, and One of Them Days, which were numbers 11 to 15 on my list, respectively. So, those movies almost made the cut. The comic book movies just missed the cut, but they were just low enough to not make my top 10 list. Again, that they were 11 through 15 there, as well as Final Destination Bloodlines and One of Them Days. Now, Final Destination Bloodlines, it was just a lot of fun. I seen the first two Final Destinations, and then I didn't see the other ones, and then I had caught up on them before the movie came out. So Final Destination was fresh in my mind when I was going into it. So a lot of the little callbacks and references that they did in the movies, they were fresh on my mind, as well as it was just a fun time in the movies. A lot of horror movies, they tend to be, tropey or dumb. This movie, it actually had a good decent plot line, and it was a lot of fun. The kills were crazy. Some of the craziest kills in the entire Final Destination series. So that movie was a lot of fun. That's in my honorable mentions, as well as One of Them Days, which is the Kiki Palmer and SZA led comedy, which came out last January, so almost a year ago now, which is crazy to think about. But that movie is also a lot of fun. If you're just looking for a fun comedy to watch, which we don't get a lot of comedies these days, so it was a treat to watch One of Them Days. It felt like Friday, but with women. So those are my honorable mentions. So starting off the list at number 10, we have Wake Up Dead Man, A Knives Out Mystery, which is directed by Rian Johnson. It's his latest entry into his Knives Out mystery franchise. Now, the Knives Out franchise has a special place in my heart because way back in 2019, pre-pandemic days, I went to see the first Knives Out it was like a random weekday, like in the middle of the week, like a Tuesday or Wednesday during the day, and I had known nothing about it. I didn't watch any trailers. I didn't look up any reviews beforehand, and I just wanted to see a movie that day. And I did know that Chris Evans was in it because people were talking about how it was his first acting movie, his first movie acting outside of Captain America. This was just after Endgame had wrapped up, so this was going to be his first role post Captain America. So I wanted to see Chris Evans in a movie outside of Captain America, how he was going to do, because he's been playing Captain America for well over a decade at that point. And beforehand, he was just like a teen heartthrob kind of guy. So I wanted to see him acting in a movie. So I just went on a random Tuesday or Wednesday to see the movie, and the first Knives Out blew me away. The twists in the first Knives Out, and Chris Evans, he was so good. And so the Knives Out movie has a special place in my heart. The second one wasn't as good, so I was a little bit leery going into Wake Up Dead Men, which is the third Knives Out movie, but this movie was worthy of the name Knives Out, in my opinion. It stands up to the first one, in my opinion. Josh O'Connor is such a fantastic actor. He really carries this movie, and he's one of my favorite working actors today. I'll watch anything Josh O'Connor is in. He has such a great way of portraying emotion with his facial expressions and his eyes, and just, he has like, I don't know, it's just like his personality is so believable when he's acting. So he really carries this movie. The story is really centers around him just as much as it does Benoit Blanc. I would say it's more of a Josh O'Connor movie than it is a Benoit Blanc movie, which, the Knives Out movies tend to center around Benoit Blanc, who's such an eccentric character played so well by Daniel Craig. But this movie, it really focuses on Josh O'Connor's character as well as the antagonist, who's played by Josh Brolin, the antagonistic priest. The storyline is so good here, and it actually does have some really heartfelt themes as well, centering around religion and faith and giving grace and just the human spirit. So I really loved Wake Up Dead Man, and I am looking forward to the next Knives Out mystery. Number nine on my list is Weapons, which is directed by the hot up and coming director Zach Kreger and stars Julia Garner, Josh Brolin, Benedict Wong, among others. Now, I've never seen Barbarians, so this was my introduction to Zach Kreger. A lot of people were very interested in this movie because of how well Barbarians was received, but I had never seen Barbarians, so I kind of went into this one a little blind on Zach Kreger. But I see why he is such a hot director now and why he's being courted by so many studios, and it makes me really look forward to the Resident Evil movie coming out this year in 2026 because he's going to be directing that. The performances in this movie are all so good, but the direction and the storytelling is really what carries this movie. It's really the star of the movie, and I really liked how we progressed through the different perspectives of each character, and their points of view, and how it's kind of disjointed until it finally all comes together with the perspective of the kid at the end of the movie. And the witch in this movie, played by Amy Madigan, was super creepy. She did a great job, and she recently won Best Supporting Actress at the Critics' Choice Awards a couple weeks ago, or last week actually. So she's definitely a great actress, and they've been talking about doing a prequel about her witch character. I think that would be really cool to see, and exploring more of this world that Zach Kreger built. The movie balanced humor and horror very well, which, like I said with Final Destination Bloodlines, that's hard to do in horror movies. Usually they're cheesily corny and not very funny, or they're just like jump scares and everything. But this doesn't have a ton of jump scares. When they do jump scares, they hit really hard. It's more atmospheric horror, like psychological horror, like you don't know what's in the air. So I like those kind of movies more than just the jump scare, or the stabbing slasher kind of horror movies. So this was my kind of horror movie. I really enjoyed this movie, and I am looking forward to any future project that Zach Kreger does, including the Resident Evil movie, which is coming out later this year. Number 8 on my list is F1, which is directed by Joseph Kosinski and stars Brad Pitt, Carrie Condon, Damson Idris, Javier Bardem, and many others. Joseph Kosinski is the mastermind behind the Top Gun Maverick movie that came out a few years ago, and you can definitely see his hand in this movie from Top Gun Maverick. I'm not even an F1 fan. I really don't know that much about F1 other than, everybody watched that Netflix documentary that came out, and that's kind of what made F1 kind of mainstream in America, or at least brought F1 a lot of attention in the United States anyway. But I'm not like some huge F1 stan, and I have heard from a lot of F1 fans online that the movie, at least technicality wise, isn't that great, with the cars and everything. But the movie, like the racing scenes, they have you on the edge of your seat. The scenes are filmed and shot really well. He films them just like he did in Top Gun Maverick with the jets. It's so exhilarating. You feel like you're in the car. You feel like it's going, you're going with them. And Brad Pitt and Damson Idris's characters are really well done as well. It's the classic mentor who comes in and the hot shot rookie or young guy who is challenging the mentor. It's that classic trope, that classic, movie trope or storyline, but it's a classic trope because it works. Things are tropes because they worked in the past, and it works here. Brad Pitt does a great job as the former champion who is now down on his luck and has to get himself back, and to mentor this younger Damson Idris. Damson Idris does a really great job as well in this movie. The writing is really great in the movie as well. The story is really tight, and kind of like Top Gun Maverick, it's a really tight story. It's paced very well, doesn't feel too long or too short, and it's just a fun, well crafted, and exciting watch. So if you're looking for something like that, this is the movie for you. Number 7 on my list is the first animated film and the first movie on the list that wasn't released in theaters, at least not opening anyway. That is K-pop Demon Hunters. Now, they did do a theater release a few months after the movie really started popping off, but it was only a couple weeks and it was a sing-along release, so that doesn't really count. Now, K-pop Demon Hunters is directed by Maggie Kang and stars Arden Cho, Mei Hong, and Ji Young Yu as the three main demon hunters who are the K-pop group Huntrix in the movie, as well as many others in the cast. Now, I'm not some big K-pop stan, so that's not why I have this in my top 10. I really enjoyed this movie. It was a lot of fun. I'm aware of K-pop, and I've listened to some K-pop in the past, but overall, it's not a community that I follow as closely. In my fandoms, I just really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was an amazing movie, and I almost didn't watch it because of the hype. I was very late to this movie. I watched it like probably 2 months after it started popping off on TikTok and social media, and there was all the songs and all the viral videos, and I was like, this is just some viral fan thing craze that everybody loves. I didn't really think there was substance to the movie, but boy was I wrong. That though, when I actually sat down to watch the movie, it completely shocked me how much of a well written story this movie is, and it has some amazing themes in the movie. The plot is engaging, it's paced very well. All the songs, I understand now why it was such a viral craze on social media, because all the songs are addicting and fun, and the lyrics of the songs actually fit the plot themes as well. One of the things I don't like about musicals is when they just randomly break into song, and I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Why are you singing it this time of the movie? It doesn't make any sense. But when they sing in the movie, it actually makes sense to the plot, and the lyrics of the songs that they're singing is actually pushing the plot forward. Like it's storytelling in the songs. So that is one of the pluses for this movie, that it doesn't feel like they're just stopping to sing for singing's sake. They're actually moving the plot forward with the songs, and there's plot and themes of the plot in the songs, and it moves the plot forward. And the chemistry between the main three Huntrix characters is very well done, as well as the Saja Boys, who are the demon K-pop band that's kind of the antagonists. It's just one of those well constructed movies that kind of surprises you. And I see why it was such a viral sensation. And this movie, it's such a well put together animated movie. It's probably the best animated movie I've watched since the first Spider-Verse movie. It's that good. Now, I really love the movie. The theme stuck with me for months. And if you avoided this like I did for just because you thought it was some viral sensation, I definitely implore you to go give it a try. You won't be disappointed. K-pop Demon Hunters deserves its spot in my top 10, and I feel like many other top 10s. I haven't seen it a lot in top 10s, maybe because it came out on Netflix, I don't know. But definitely give K-pop Demon Hunters a shot. It was not just a fad. At number 6 on my list, I have Warfare. Warfare is directed and written by Alex Garland and Ray Mendoza, and has a stacked cast of up-and-coming actors, including Will Poulter, Joseph Quinn, Cosmo Jarvis, Michael Gandolfini, Noah Centineo, and many others. This is one of those casts that I feel like we're going to look back on in 10 years and be like, wow, that movie was filled with Oscar winners, award winners, and A-list actors. It's crazy how many up-and-coming, young actors are in this movie. This is a brutal movie to watch. This is not a fun movie. If you're looking for a fun movie, it's the complete opposite of K-pop Demon Hunters. It is not fun. This is a brutal and a very hard movie to watch, but it is very realistic. It's not like Call of Duty or any of those other sensationalized, war-centered TV or movies or TV shows that are out there, or games. This is not sensationalized. This is hard. This hits hard, and it is very brutal, and it is just like a slog to get through, but it's such a good watch, even though it's a tough watch. And Alex Garland last year he made the movie Civil War, which kind of has the same feeling as this movie. So I am Alex Garland, a lot like Zach Kreger. He's one of those up and coming directors that I'm looking forward to anything he's doing. And so I definitely think you should give Warfare a shot, and it comes in at number 6 on my list. Moving on into the top 5, at number 5 on my list is The Long Walk. The Long Walk is based on the Stephen King novel of the same name, and it's directed by Francis Lawrence and stars David Johnson, Cooper Hoffman, Mark Hamill, among many others. Now, if you watched my most anticipated movies of 2025 video that came out at the beginning of 2025, I had a different Stephen King adaptation on that list. I had The Running Man. But I should have swapped those movies because The Running Man was okay. It wasn't that great. The Long Walk is a Stephen King adaptation of last year that you need to watch. The entire cast put on amazing performances, but in particular, David Johnson was a level above everybody else in this movie, in my opinion. Cooper Hoffman did a really great job as well, but David Johnson is just like a step above everybody else in this movie. He's so good in this movie, and I don't really see him getting any buzz for awards. He didn't get this movie didn't get any nominations, at least that I know of, or it didn't get any wins, definitely. In the Critics' Choice Awards, I'm not hearing any Oscar buzz for this movie. It's crazy because I feel like this movie kind of came and went, but it was so good. Like I said, David Johnson just, is just puts on a masterclass of emotional acting in this movie, and he definitely has a bright future. I've seen a lot of people lobbying online for him to be the next Black Panther, and I would definitely put my vote behind that. I think he would do a great job. He's does such a great job of portraying emotion and strength as well. And much like Warfare, which was the number 6 on my list before this, this movie is a brutal watch. It's not as bad of a watch. It's not as hard of a watch as Warfare, but it's pretty bad. It's up there. And just watching this group of 50 kids get whittled down one by one as they walk hundreds of miles nonstop with a fascist military breathing down their necks. Like I said, unlike Running Man, this is the Stephen King adaptation of last year that you can definitely glean a lot from about society and fascism and just, our culture in general. There's a lot of themes in this movie that you can learn and glean things from. I really love this movie. I hate that it's not getting any awards buzz because I feel like David Johnson in particular should get awards buzz for this movie. And honestly, it would be a couple higher spots on this list if I went and revisited it. If I rewatch all these movies, I could definitely see this being a little bit higher than number 5. But right now, it is number 5 on my list. At number 4, I have Marty Supreme. Marty Supreme is directed by Josh Safdie and stars the Lisan Al Gaib himself, Timothy Chalamet, as well as Gwyneth Paltrow, Odessa Zion, and Tyler, the Creator, of all people. I thought he did a really great job in this movie. He was really funny, and he didn't seem out of place in the movie. Now, Timothy Chalamet plays the character Marty Mauser, who is a hustler, a sleazebag, and a person I would not like in real life. But it's fascinating to watch in this movie. There were a lot of points in this movie that were difficult to watch, not because they're poorly acted or the writing is bad or the pacing is off, but because the opposite, actually. Because Marty Mauser, Timothy Chalamet's character, is such a terrible human being. It's hard to watch the decisions he makes and the things that he does. His character will do anything, use anyone, and step over and on whoever he needs to get to his ultimate goal, which is becoming the table tennis world champion. And they actually do a really good job. You would think watching a movie about ping pong would be boring, wouldn't be that exciting. Like, what do you do with a movie about a guy who was a ping pong champion? But they actually do a really great job at making the ping pong exciting, the way they film it, and the way it's acted. They do a good job of making it not seem over the top, but also exciting and engaging. And like I said, it's really the character Marty Supreme, Marty Mauser in this movie that carries the movie. Timothy Chalamet carries the movie as the character. It's a brutal watch because of how bad of a person his character is and his ultimate goal that he's trying to get to, and he'll stop at nothing to get to that and push over, like I said before, push over or step on anyone that he needs to get to that goal. And it's a lot like One Battle After Another, which we'll see later on in this list. But it's a lot like One Battle After Another, where it's just a series of misfortunate events, like one after another. It's just relentless, like bam, bam, bam. Every scene is something terrible happening with this character, to this character, or something terrible he's doing to somebody else. So it's a really fascinating movie to watch. It's paced very well, didn't feel as long as it was. It's like a 2.5 hour movie, but it didn't feel like that. And Timothy Chalamet, I saw that he won, I believe, Best Supporting Actor at the Critics' Choice Awards. Would not surprise me if he pulls the Oscar again this year like he did last year. He is just on a meteoric rise, and he deserves all of the acclaim that he's getting. And a lot of people say they don't like Timothy Chalamet because they say he's cocky. I disagree. I really like the speech that he gave last year about wanting to be the greatest, and you can see why he's like that. He really is gonna be one of those generational actors, and you see it here in Marty Supreme. And I'm really looking forward to all the movies he's in next year, including Dune Part 3. I just mentioned this movie a few moments ago. At number 3, we have One Battle After Another. One Battle After Another is directed by the great Paul Thomas Anderson and has another power-packed cast, including Leonardo DiCaprio, Sean Penn, Benicio del Toro, Chase Infinity, Regina Hall, Teyana Taylor in her acting debut, as well as many others in this movie. This movie is like one very well directed and written fever dream. Like I said, similar to Marty Supreme, it's just like one scene after another of terrible things happening. Although, unlike Marty Supreme, Leonardo DiCaprio's character in this movie isn't really a bad person, even though he might be doing some bad things and bad things are happening to him. He's not as terrible. He's not like a terrible person like Marty Mauser is in Marty Supreme. This is actually a sympathetic character here in this movie. And the movie also has some great writing and themes that and messages as well that are relevant to a lot of things that we see today in our political atmosphere. And Leonardo DiCaprio, I just mentioned Timothy Chalamet is probably the front runner, but Leonardo DiCaprio has a really great shot after this performance at getting his second Oscar in his career. And Chase Infinity, she is a newer actress. I think this might be her first major like feature film that she's done. I think she might have done some smaller stuff, but this is her first major feature film. And she is also fantastic in this movie. It would not surprise me if she won any awards at the Oscars as well. This is just a really well written, really well directed, and really well acted movie. It's one of those movies that is just good. It's very good, and I it's very long, but it's paced very well. It doesn't feel as long as it is. And it's just one of those movies that you have to watch and experience for yourself. But I promise you, it is definitely worth that watch. It's a fantastic adventure of a movie and a series of misfortunate events that goes on in this movie. But like I said, it's very well written, very well acted, very well directed. Just everything is great about this movie, and it is coming in at number 3 on my list. Now, numbers 2 and number 1 on my list, I've flip-flopped so many times going over this list the past couple months. It's been so hard to rank them, and to be honest, number 2 and number 1, it really can be 1A and 1B, but for the purpose of a top 10, I have to make a number 2 and a number 1. But really, both of these next two movies are just fantastic movies. But I have to rank them, so at number 2 on my list, I have Hamnet. Hamnet is directed by Chloe Zhao and stars Jessie Buckley, Paul Mescal, Joe Alwyn, among many others, including child actor Jacoby Jupe, who was really great in this movie as well. Hamnet is an adaptation of a book by the same name, which is a fictional telling of William Shakespeare and his marriage to his wife Anne. Who, funny enough, his wife's name was Anne Hathaway, but they changed the name in the book to make it not confusing with the actress. As well as the death of their son, who was named Hamnet, and was the inspiration for Shakespeare's play Hamlet. He just basically changed the name, but wrote the play as, inspired by his son's life and death. Now, what's funny is, when I saw this movie in the theater, I was actually like, a few minutes, like 5 minutes late. So I missed the very beginning of the movie, and I hadn't looked up any information about the movie or any reviews going into it. So I didn't know that this was a Shakespeare adaptation and that Paul Mescal was supposed to be playing Shakespeare. I thought there was some funny coincidence. I thought it was just like a movie, just like a movie set in that time period. So I thought there was some funny coincidences in the movie. I didn't think anything of it until like right before the third act when he opens up his stage in London, and I was like, wait a minute. He's supposed to be Shakespeare. And then I put everything together and I was like, oh wow. So it kind of gave me a different context on the movie. I thought it was really funny thinking about watching the movie, the third act of the movie, and thinking back on everything that had happened. And I was like, how did I not see that he was supposed to be Shakespeare? But Paul Mescal, he's a great actor. I love Paul Mescal and everything that he's done. He's one of those actors like Aaron Taylor Johnson, or Nicholas Holt that is like right there. They're not quite an A-lister, but they're right there on the cusp. And I really feel like they're gonna make that next jump. And so I really like Paul Mescal. This is one of his best performances in my opinion. But the performance of this movie is Jessie Buckley as his wife Anne. This is one of those performances, like a once in a generation performance. I've seen a lot of people online saying this is the best performance since There Will Be Blood, and I definitely agree. Like best single character performance, and I definitely agree. Jessie Buckley is going to be a shoe in for actress or best actress at the Oscars. I think she already won a Critics' Choice Award, and she is going to be like a -1,000, maybe -10,000 favorite for best actress at the Oscars. She is so good in this movie. The movie is worth watching just for her performance alone. All the performances are great in this movie. Paul Mescal, the child actor Jacoby Jupe does a really great job as well, who plays Hamnet. The sisters as well, the midwives, everyone's really great in this movie. But Jessie Buckley in particular puts on a heartbreaking performance in this movie. The movie's worth watching just for her performance alone. And can't recommend this movie enough. I'm not a person, that likes that period of movies. I'm not one of those people that likes, like the, Wuthering Heights or, a Wives Tale, those kind of movies set in that time period. But this movie in particular, it kind of broke through that stereotype for me. And like I said, Jessie Buckley's performance really hit me hard. The movie is so brutal. Like there's a theme on this list of like brutal performances and brutal watches. I've noticed while I was making this list. But this is another one of those movies that is just a hard watch, but it's so beautiful, especially in the third act. It's just beautiful how everything comes together. Jessie Buckley deserves all the awards and accolades she's going to get, and I cannot recommend Hamnet enough. And finally, number one on my list, as y'all can probably guess, since it hasn't been mentioned so far, that is Sinners. Sinners is my number one movie of 2025. Sinners is directed by one of the best working directors today, in my opinion, Ryan Coogler, and has a powerhouse cast, including Michael B. Jordan, who plays opposite of himself, two characters, twins, in this movie, as well as Haley Steinfeld, Jack O'Connell, Wumi Masaku, Delroy Lindo, and musician turned actor in his acting debut, Miles Canton, which is crazy because he does such a fantastic job in this movie. You would think he's been an actor for 10 years the way he plays Sammy in this movie. Now, this movie came out way back in March, so you've probably seen social media clips regarding the plot. Regardless, I don't want to go too deep into it and spoil things for people that might not have seen the movie, but obviously it's been out for almost a year now, and it was a huge craze when it came out, was in the theaters for months and weeks and months. It had a very long staying power, which is hard to do these days because they're pulling movies in like 2 weeks or to a month these days. So the fact that Sinners was in the movie theater for so long really is a testament to how good this movie was. I think that it's his best overall directed movie, which might be blasphemy to say because Fruitvale Station was also very well directed as well. But in my opinion, Sinners, the direction in this movie is so good. And this is also Michael B. Jordan's best performance, in my opinion. I really liked him as Killmonger. I like him in the Creed movies, but this is his best performance so far. And Haley Steinfeld, well, actually, when she was a kid, she had a really great performance as well. But this is her best performance as an adult, in my opinion. And the newcomer, Miles Canton, like I said before, feels like he's been acting for 10 years. It's crazy that this is his first movie that he's acted in, and he was a musician before that. I don't know where Ryan Coogler found him from, what jazz club he went to that he found this guy, or maybe he was listening to things on shuffle on Spotify and he heard him and hit him up. But he did a great job casting this movie because Miles Catton was really good in this movie. Everybody, all the supporting actors are really good. Wumi Masaku, Delroy Lindo, I feel like should get a nod for best supporting actor. He did such a great job in this movie as well. He's always great. And Jack O'Connell as the villain in this movie, the antagonist. He's really not even really a villain. He's more of an antagonist. I've made the comparison to his character in Killmonger. It really feels like they're kind of brothers in how that they're not necessarily villains, like they do villainous bad things, but they have a reason that you can kind of sympathize with them. Killmonger and the character that Jack O'Connell plays in this movie. It's just a fantastic movie. It has some great themes. The way they use music in this movie as a character and a way to move the plot forward was so creatively refreshing. I'd never seen anything like that, the way they use music in this movie. It was so interesting and refreshing and awe-inspiring. It's unfortunate that it came out so early in this year because I feel like it's not going to get a lot of Oscar consideration. Usually the Oscar movies come out, like after Thanksgiving. But this one came out all the way back in March. I'm really hoping it gets Oscar consideration. I think the only award that it won at the Critics' Choice Awards was Ryan Coogler for Best Original Screenplay. But hopefully, Michael B. Jordan and some of the supporting actors can get some at least nominations. They won't win, but at least get some nominations because this movie is fantastic. If somehow you avoided Sinners and you have not watched it yet, I don't know what rock you're living under, what you're doing. Go find Sinners. I don't know where it's at on streaming, but go find it and watch it because it is a fantastic movie and is my number one movie of 2025. So that is my list of the top 10 movies of 2025 this past year. Like I said, it was a really great year for movies, and somehow 2026 looks like it's going to be even better. We got so many great movies coming up: The Odyssey, Dune Part 3, the new Spider-Man movie, Avengers Doomsday. There's so many awesome movies coming out this year, and the next video that's going to come out on the channel is going to be going over my most anticipated movies of the year. It's one of my favorite movies to do every year. So if you're interested in that, definitely make sure that you leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel so you can stay updated for that video and all others. Let me know down in the comments below what you thought of my top 10, if you would move any of the movies, if you move any of the movies to a different place, or if you had another movie that I didn't talk about or maybe was in the honorable mentions that you thought should be in the top 10. Let me know down in the comments below, and I will see y'all another day.